was talking to a business consultant friend of mine over lunch the other day, and the conversation turned towards the fact that the big accounting firms had seemingly escaped any of the media spotlight that was shone so brightly on the banks to some degree on executive transformation. Now, a cursory glance after that conversation at the executive boards of the big four here in South Africa does reveal that some headway is being made, and it is very much a public perception issue. I mean, for example, at PwC, it's 7 white, 5 black. KPMG, we're looking at almost I think it's 56% black, 33% female. So some progress is being made, but that doesn't gloss over the fact that it's still a very challenging space for particularly black African female chartered accountants to break into, very much because of the old school tie networks that exist that are quite similar to the issues impacting on the legal fraternity. Now, someone who's blazed a trail in the accounting space is Sindi Zilwa, who's the co-founder and CEO of Nkonki Chartered Accountants, and it's a great pleasure to welcome Sindi onto the program tonight. Evening, Sindi.
Evening, and thank you, Michael.
Now, I believe you've been hamstrung by the traffic, as have so many other people around Braamfontein tonight. So, unfortunately, I'm not talking to you in studio. I believe you've sneakily parked somewhere, and I hope you don't get a knock on the window from our Metro Police friends. But be that as it may, I believe that Nkonki is currently hosting its 4th annual Audit Committee Conference, which is taking place until tomorrow at the Convention Centre, and it's under the theme Enhancing Oversight Intelligence. Tell me about this.
Yes, thank you, Michael. I think the most important thing about the conference is that as Nkonki, we identified the need to empower audit committees, because if audit committees are empowered and are effective in their function, what it means is that we play our role as a firm in strengthening the corporate governance in the corporate South Africa. Now, the theme of enhancing oversight intelligence is around the fact that this is all about an oversight process, because you are not involved in the day-to-day, but then if you do not have adequate intelligence, you will end up agreeing on things that you should not be agreeing on, and just glossing over issues and not applying your mind and having the right intelligence, asking the right questions that will give you effective oversight. So that's why we are actually doing this, and I mean, it's been successful over the first 2 days, because in how we've actually handled the conference, we have not only provided audit committee attendees with other audit committee members to guide them, but we've also brought in the people that they have to monitor, like the CFOs and the provincial treasurers, so that they can tell them what are the things that they must zoom in on when they're actually managing those functions, and we find that very empowering to members.
Well, it's great to hear that you are sort of hand-holding through the process. But one of your surveys, and it's on integrated reporting trends at state-owned corporates, reveals a rather grim picture of patches of excellence which are overshadowed by a lot of indifference by many of our state-owned corporations. And this isn't a new problem. What is being done to ensure that we turn things around at a SOC accounting level, at parastatal level?
We're actually proud when we get asked that question, because when we started that survey, Michael, I think in 2012, we were very horrified, because when we selected the Schedule 2 state-owned companies, we realized that only 3 of them qualified to even be noted as finalists, because they were above 50%. And following year, we had 7. And this year, we had 10 of them. So we can actually see how things are actually improving. And I think the average score improved from about 40-something% to about 60-something%. And that picture is not only applicable to state-owned companies, because we also did the same with the top 100, and we've really seen that level of improvement. For instance, in the first year, none of them qualified for an A rating, which is more than 80%. And last year we had about 11 of those, which was very good. But this year on the awards we held on the 3rd of October, we had 22 companies that are listed in the JSE as part of the top 100 achieving an A rating. So meaning that there is an improvement, there is progress in actually moving forward. And we actually take credit as well as a firm, because we did create the amount of pressure and peer pressure around this, because now every state-owned company and every top 100 knew somebody is watching.
Well, it's such positive pressure to hear about, but there's still certainly a long way to go. Now, I just want to move the conversation on to the industry itself, the accounting and auditing profession. And, we saw a survey earlier this year by the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, and it, for the first time, had a look at all of the JSE-listed companies, all of the 475 at that time, and it did reveal that among South African company directors, CEO level, CFO level, your C-suite level, are still predominantly white and male. But it did indicate hopeful signs of improvement in transformation within the younger generation. And it pointed out a number of young African black CAs being appointed as directors below the age of 40. Are we seeing this as a result of the feeder system starting to match expected outcomes now, Cindy?
Yes, I think the producing CAs is not a short-term business. It's a very long-term. And initially when we started, we thought we'd see results in 2 to 3 years, but no, we didn't. Now we're actually happy to actually see how the numbers are actually increasing. But the challenge that we have now is to make sure that the roles or representation generally is reflective of the numbers that we actually have, and that is not happening. And what I mean by that is that when you have the number of black CAs increasing, hopefully you want to start to open the papers and see the thought leadership that is being contributed by the new generation of people, which is what, for instance, we are doing as Nkonki, to say companies have done well to support us. And yes, others have not supported us because of the legacies of South Africa, and we cannot talk about that now. But the most important thing is that as we are growing, we owe it to the people who support us to be resourceful to the country and to provide thought leadership so that the increase in the number of black CAs can actually be felt and can be visible. So it is the same thing then that we need to see. When I come to the employment space, for instance, you see that the number of CAs is increasing, but on employment equity, you don't see them emerging, to the top management levels because they are still down there, get frustrated sometimes and have to leave the organization. So we need to make sure that now we focus more on investing on the CAs that are already qualified and make sure that corporate South Africa is indeed providing equal opportunity to people who are qualified, because in 10 years' time, we really need to see a different reflection in company boardrooms. We need more role models, because the moment you get role models because of the success of the people that are in the front line, the more ripple effect we will have in encouraging others to get into the profession.
Well, thank you so much, Sindi Zilwa, co-founder and CEO of Nkonki Chartered Accountants, for sharing your passion for the transformation of the accounting profession with us, and surely by looking at the progress made at a board level at our Big Four, we're well on track to meet those aims of having really transformed boards in the next 10 years. You're listening to Classic Business.